Salutations, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and today I just got done watching Mickey 17, and what a film, what a very interesting film. I was very interested in watching this movie because of what Robert Pattinson, he was in it, and I really liked his Batman movie, and I don't even think I've watched anything else really with him. It looked funky, it looked silly, so I decided to watch this film, and if I watched the first half of the film alone, I would have been very satisfied with this film. But then if I watched sort of the climax and the end of this film, I was very disappointed. It's a tale of two halves. It's like the reverse. They had this in the first half meme, or I could just apply that meme here, because the first half of the movie I was with it 100%. Then the second half of the movie, it was, oh my goodness. Some of the characters, one of the characters in particular, is weird and sort of annoying towards the end. Well, kind of throughout. It's kind of like she's just, it's just kind of weird with her character. But so this film is about, it's in the future, and it's about this expedition to this planet. And with this expedition to this planet, this guy, Robert Pattinson's character, Mickey, signs up on this expedition as a replicant or expendable. I said replicant like it was like Blade Runner or something. Like, this is kind of the same vibe-ish, but not like the same content. But he's expendable. So expendables are in this program where you can get reprinted and recopied through some recycled slop. They take all the biomass of everything and they put you through this printer. And through this process, you get printed in like different ways. Like, you have some of his replicants or clones have been sort of different as far as their attitude and such. So they're on this expedition. They find this planet, this snow planet, and they find these little creatures here. But before they get to the snow planet, they need Mickey to get to this planet because it has like this unknown virus thing. So he's basically a lab rat. So Mickey 17 is the Mickey that was able to provide the colony that is on this expedition to this planet with a cure through the trial and error of him dying and him getting reprinted. So they kind of treated him like trash throughout the whole thing, and just go do this and die so you can come back and go do this other thing and die. And this movie, it says it's a comedy, but it's really not. It's kind of funny, but it's not really funny. It's kind of depressing and dark. It's like a dark comedy, whatever. And they're on this expedition with like sort of this cult like leader politician who just sucks so much that he decides to form his own colony on a distant planet, inhabitable planet. So there's sort of that vibe in this colony, but Mickey 17 is sort of like sped. He's like the sped guy, and which is kind of weird because you see this the other girl that just kind of ruins the end of the film for me is Tasha, the like love interest. Is like, what is she doing? She's like this security officer, police officer for this expedition, and she's like falling in love with this slow dude and like ride or die for this slow dude. And their relationship seemed kind of weird. It was just a weird, freaky movie. It was like weird in the beginning. It was kind of freaky, but then kind of half of this movie, it starts getting weird. So yeah, that was sort of the premise. He has this other friend that on Earth that he was with, which is like this pretty interesting side plot of them getting caught up in this mob, and they are in debt with this mob, so they get chased around. They run around all the time with him and his friend, and they decide to go on this expedition. The reason that they do this expedition is so that they can go far away from the mob boss as possible. But we learn later in the film that the mob boss was able to still track them even though they weren't on this expedition to space and whatever. So there's that side plot, which is actually really interesting. I really like that one. And in the beginning is like a sort of intro. It's kind of one of those flashback movies where at the end is all a flashback, but it was just for the introduction of the movie. The introduction of the movie serves as a pretty good like plot setter, kind of set the scene of the world, the atmosphere, the environment, the tone. And I think it did a really good job of this until it kind of started getting cringy at the end. And maybe that's why it's a comedy, but the tone and vibe was so cool in the beginning of the movie that I just wanted to kind of carry out throughout the end of this film. It was just So they get to this inhabitable planet and they meet this alien that the politician dude deems as a creeper, and he wants Mickey to go get a sample of it. But Mickey 17, the 17th clone, was saved by one of these creeper things, by the creeper queen. And he doesn't want to do any harm to these people, to this planet, but the politician guy who's in head of the expedition of this big ship, bunch of people on it who signed up to go, he's like, we have to exterminate all of these aliens so that we can inhabit this planet ourselves. And Mickey he kind of forms this relationship with this alien race, and he's able to communicate and talk to them, and they're like, and he realizes that they have the power to essentially kind of wipe the human. So at the end, a lot of stuff happens. They try to throw this narrative as like, this is stolen land, you shouldn't come here and conquer this, they're just babies. And they take one of the babies and they kill them, and the queen doesn't like that. It's like they're kind of like a hive mind. They all feel the pain of the individuals, creepers. And the queen was like, hey, if you take out equal amounts of people that you took out, which is like I think 2 or 1, it was kind of getting weird at the end because they were torturing one and they killed the other, and then I guess 2 of them died, so they needed 2 sacrifices. So they chose to sacrifice the evil politician guy, who's a pretty goofy character. I really kind of like his weird dynamic with him and his like wife, or his like PR woman. They're husband and wives, but they're like this PR. It's weird because he'll like start to grandstand and he's like, should I go harder? She's like, yeah, go harder. And this wife is weird about her sauces. Like during this expedition, she's like grabbing these mystery sauces from like organisms. She just like blends up one of the creepers, and he's like, try this sauce. And it's like, yo, like all that stuff is so cool and freaky. Like it fits with the vibe. But then there's Tasha, who is just like one of the most peculiar characters in this film, I think. And it's just like, she falls in love with Mickey 17 or Mickey throughout the whole time. It's throughout the whole replicant, him getting reprinted and whatnot. And they print a Mickey 18 because when he gets saved by the alien race, they think that he's dead. So they print another one so he's able to talk to another side of himself. He's like, that's really mean and really sort of like a very toxic sort of like masculine dude. Like Mickey 18 is very much more masculine and more he's more on demon time, and Mickey 17 is way more like demasculated, slow, a bit more like chill, and he's more like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do. He's more of like in the movie they reference him as a bitch, at least Mickey 18. So he's like, you need to stop doing all this pussy crap, but you need to start all this bitching, which I love the dynamic of Mickey 17 and 18. I think that's one of the highlights of the film, of them being together, Mickey 18, Mickey 17, because you really feel for both of them, because they both sort of have this mutual like respect and relationship with each other, because they are clones. Their memory they retain all their memory, but they're kind of like different people, sort of, or different sides of the same coin. And seeing that dynamic is awesome, but seeing Mickey 17's and 18's dynamic with Tasha is one of the weirdest things. Like once he gets printed, it's like this weird sex thing where she wants to have sex with both the Mickeys, and Mickey 17 was very much justified on not wanting to be a part of this weird threesome thing. And it's just weird, because in the earlier in the film, it gets established real quick, like they're each other's partners, at least. Like they're having sex on this expedition, and apparently they weren't not supposed to have sex because the politician dude, he's like, it costs too many calories and too much energy to exert for you guys to have sex, so we're not gonna have sex until we get to this planet. But I don't think there was any way to enforce that, because they were bumping and grinding in this film. And there was this other girl that was trying to get a piece of it. Her plot was just kind of interesting, weird. She was like a side chick. She kind of popped up, and then she kind of doesn't really do much else in the film. I don't even know. But there's this one R&D girl who is sort of sympathetic to Mickey's dilemma, and there's one R&D guy who kind of sucks up to the politician. He's like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. But so there's some people who's like, human rights, like, this is kind of weird, we shouldn't be doing this. But I think for the most part, the Expendables program was a great success, and the end of this movie, they decided to do something that I didn't really like. I didn't really like them to do. They kind of got rid of the Expendables program at the end, but before that, they decide to kill two people, which is the politician dude and Mickey 18. Mickey 18 sacrifices himself in a very noble, heroic way of him kind of being. He's a very blue, he's kind of sad. You kind of feel the pain of him, but he's very like anger. He's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You need to lock in and stuff. So it was cool to see that he made a little sacrifice at the end for the greater good of the expedition, and he kills the politician good dude and he kills himself. So that equals the sacrifice needed for the creepers to be kind of chill with the humans, and that's kind of how it ends. The highlight of the film is really the first part of the film. There's a lot of other characters that were cool. Yeah, I mean, I like this movie. It was probably a average film at the end of the film. Like it ended in such a way that I just didn't really like it at the end. So I'll probably give this movie like a 5. I want to give it a 4 of how disappointing it was, but I mean, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 because how disappointed, how much they dropped the ball with this film. Like, it was so good at the beginning, but then at the end it was like, man, come on now. Like, how did you guys, how can you guys do this to me? So overall, Mickey 17 is gonna be a disappointing movie. I would still recommend it for the first kind of half of the film, and maybe if you like sort of the messaging at the end of the film, it doesn't really bother you that much. But and how Tasha would kind of like starts going in on yeah, that was just kind of, it was hard to watch. That scene with her kind of arguing and saying like this is like stolen land and stuff. It was a bit cringe. It was very much cringe, I would say. But yeah, I'm at 50 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. I kind of went different directions, but I think this film kind of deserves this type of review because of how much it dropped the ball. The vibe, it was sort of like, it kind of reminded you of like a Blade Runner-ish with a lighter tone, but it was like kind of dark-ish. Like, it was almost like a psychological horror, because you could see the pain of Mickey getting replicated and the effects that it has on his body and his memory and his ties to his past. And that was just so much more powerful than I think what the tail end of the movie had to offer, of him like dealing with his humanity and dealing with his other half, Mickey 18. And it was such a cool concept, and I think it kind of fails in execution of the rest of the plot. So that's how I feel about Mickey 17. So that'll be it. Next movie I'll be watching, I have no idea, so stay tuned.